I don't know when we're live and when we're not. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live this week. This is becoming a high value woman as the CFO of her household. This one is going to be good, you guys. It is going to be good. Ruth and I always have like a little brainstorming time right before we get on so that we can get our juices going, right? Like we get excited about our topic. And this one, I was just telling Ruth, like, that's why we're a little bit later than noon, is because I was in it. Like, Ruth is going to be the coach and I'm going to be the client. This is something that I'm working on right now. Ruth is my coach. We have a coaching call weekly where I'm in a program that she's doing, and she's helping me turn my brain on to that I am the CFO of my household. Now, I'll just say this. I am not the one that pays the bills and manages the money and does all the things when it comes to managing the money of our household. My husband is a brainiac. He's numbers guy. He's a mathematician. That's just how his brain is wired. And so he is naturally better fit in that position in our family than I am. I don't want anything to do with the money. Just give it to me and let me spend it. And so he is the CFO of our household. However, Ruth is getting me turned around in my brain that I have a job there too, that is also a responsibility that I have of our family to partner with my husband in the financial conversation of our family. So I'm going to turn it over to Ruth, but before I do, I just want to remind you who I am if you're new here. My name is Sherry Brazier, and I am a life and style coach. So I help women get dressed for their days and for all of the things that they want to get dressed for and be stylish for. And I help them with their confidence on the inside, and then help them dress that way on the outside. So that's who I am. And then I will pass it over to Ruth. She's going to introduce herself, and then she's going to introduce our topics for this conversation because she's the financial coach. So over to you.
Hey, I'm Ruth Liebel. I'm from Ruth Liebel Financial Coaching. I help people master their money and create their abundant life. I specialize in helping couples get on the same page. Okay, so this is a big one, becoming the CFO of your household. And I mean, this is my entire industry, right? Like this, I help people for years master into this, but we're going to cover 3 main bullet points. And Sherry and I were talking, honestly, I hope that what I say bristles you ladies.
It bristled me.
But in a way that that challenges you in the best ways. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is a very sensitive topic. I don't know of very few topics that bring up more negative, visceral reactions than money. But I also want you to walk away feeling a little bit like proud of what you are doing, aware of what you can do, and like empowered that you can start on those things, or at least keep going on those things. Okay, so the first topic, the first point, I guess, the first point is a high value woman is an intentional steward. Okay, then the first point under that is she knows where her money comes from and where it's going. So just like Sherry and just like me, like I'm not the breadwinner in our family. I do have my business that makes some side money, but I am not the breadwinner. I never have been the breadwinner. So I can still be a CFO. Sherry can still be part of the CFO, entity without doing all of it herself. In fact, that's what's the benefit about being married. If you're single, it's you. If you're married, it doesn't have to be you, but you have to learn how to be a partner. There's a couple of things I want to talk about this. So you know where your money's coming from and you know where it's going. So there's 2 points. Sorry, my brain is splitting on this one. There's 2 pieces to this, and maybe it's all the same piece. You have to look at it like you are co-parents of your money. It isn't like and we can like it, we can switch these like traditional roles. If the wife is the one that labors for the baby, like she labors and she bears the babies, but the husband cannot come home and be like, you cooked it, you clean it. Right? If she's struggling with discipline with the kids, or if she wants to talk about better schools, or if she just wants to share happy stories about the kids, he can't turn her and be like, well, you made the baby. It's your decisions. You do it. You take care of it. Don't bother me. Same way with, if he's the one that labors for the money, he's like, he bears that responsibility. He labors for the money. She cannot say, you made it, you cook it, you clean it. Like, you take care of that. Don't tell me. Like, only bring me the money when it's potty trained and in a good mood. Right? Okay. You have to make decisions together, but you can split it. So just like the mom might be the one to be the primary caretaker of the kids. She goes to the parent teacher conferences and she's changing the majority of the diapers during the day, all the things. He might be the one to pay the bills and set up the auto pay and collect all the, do the tax, like whatever. But just like she would expect him to be involved with the kids and take them on dates and like have a responsibility in that, she needs to have a responsibility in the money. Is that a fair example?
Yeah, that's a really great one. It
And
is
then
really
each
great.
couple can decide how you split it up. Who's earning what percentages? Like, whose job is it? Who's in the roles? So I have a whole thing about, maybe I'll do this. Message economic role worksheet, or maybe just do economic roles. Just message something in this video when you watch it, and or DM me something. I have it. Just contact me. I have a worksheet for all the roles that you'll do in your household, that you can have a conversation and decide on purpose together who does what. There's a
I
lot of
think that,
problems.
yeah, I think that that we should have them just comment,
Okay.
just say the words economic roles,
Okay.
and Ruth will reach out to you and
Okay.
get you that worksheet,
Yes,
because
we'll
I want it. Like,
Okay.
I want to have it, and I'm sure that everyone that's watching this is going to want it. So just comment in the comment section, economic roles, and Ruth will message you and get you that worksheet. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's good. And a lot of troubles that happens in marriages. So 90% of divorces that happen in the first 7 years of marriage are related to financial discord. 90%.
Wow.
So money discord is a killer for the young marriages. And part of that has to do with this economic role in the family. We come in with all kinds of assumptions of who's supposed to do what in the family financially. And then there's not an alignment in that. And then we just fight about it forever until we can't handle it anymore. So that's a really big one. Okay. So you want to approach your money as a co-parent. If you're single, it's you. You're a single parent of your money. It's all on you. You got it. There's no help. There's no handing it off. There's no running away. It's you. But if you're married, you got to co-parent your money together. Now, there's a dynamic that I find a lot with couples, and they step into a parent-child role with each other rather than co-parents with their money. They're a parent-child with each other. One of them, it can come either way. Either one of them like usurps too much power, or one of them relinquishes too much power. Like, I don't want it. Keep it away from me. Like, just give me the money when it's time for me to be at the store and I want my toys. Right. But you do all the things. Don't make me think about it. So it's two, either somebody's extra controlling and they won't let you have it. And you're like, please let me help and make decisions. I shouldn't have just my allowance. That's stupid. I'm a friggin' adult and I help you here. So there's two kinds of things. And if you found that you're in this dynamic, I'm not going to dive into this because that's like coaching, right? Like, there's a lot of coaching. Contact me. If you are like, oh my gosh, that's us. We're not really co-parents. We're like parent-child to each other. Contact me. Let's work on that. It's really easy to actually change out of that. Just take some work for a little short period of time. Okay. So you know where your money is, where it come from, and where it's going. I think we've set enough on that. Move on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then the next bullet point on that one is, she sets financial goals and she lives with a written plan for her goals. Again, this is intentionality. You are an intentional steward. You want to make sure that your all that money that's being worked for and created is going to build something that you're happy about. A lot of times we focus on making money. We put all of our energy into the making money, and then we just kind of like throw it into the air, and then we're frustrated with work and all the things, because making the money is only like, it's really only a quarter of it.
Yeah.
You're a quarter of the way there. Once you've made the money, you have to make sure it goes and builds something that you're proud of. So living with goals and having a written plan. How are you going to accomplish the goals? You can't just like pray to the stars that your goals happen. You have to work your way there.
Okay. So what if you feel like you have different goals than your spouse? So we're talking to women, but I'm sure that there's some men watching, you know. But what if you feel like your goals are different than your spouse's goals? And what if, okay, I'll just give you a scenario because I know with my own coaching, I do life coaching as well as style coaching. So I coach people on money, and then I have my own things that I'm working with you on, right? But what if you're the wife and um and your husband is the one that is the breadwinner and controls the money? Like, and when I say controls, um, like he's the one that makes most of the decisions on how it's spent, right? And you decide, or you are aware of, like you know, realize whatever, that maybe his goals for the family are different than your goals for the family. And maybe they're not super opposite, but maybe there's something that you really value as the wife, but he doesn't really value that. And so he doesn't put resources to that, but you feel like that's important to you. How do you have that conversation? How do you get away from the like, I'm a victim? Because when you feel like you're the victim, you're never going to have a very good conversation with your spouse.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're a victim, because one of the constructs of life is, if there's a victim, then there has to be a villain. And if I'm the victim in a marriage, then my husband's the villain. And it is never a good idea to have a conversation if you're in that space.
Yeah.
So how do I get myself out of that victim role and feel empowered about my ideas and the way that I value whatever it is I want to spend the money on, and have that conversation so that I can talk to my spouse about why I feel like that's valuable and why I feel like resources should be allotted to that thing.
Okay. So short answer to this is personal spending money is a must when you're married.
Okay.
In your budget, you need to have his spending money and her spending money. And those amounts need to be the same. And this is the short answer solution for how to fund where your values are different. When your values are the same, that's easy. You put it in the household budget, done, right? But where they differ, that's how you handle that. That's the short answer. Now, the process of negotiating for that is a thing. Now, the answer I will give for this is, with the caveat that your spouse or you, like in the marriage, you're not dealing with personality disorders or like pathological
Narcissism or
right? Like you're dealing with a normal human being with normal selfish levels and normal blind spots, like that kind of a thing. You're going to approach your partner exactly the same as you would your best friend or your business partner. You want to go for a win-win. You want to make sure that you understand them first. That's just how you will always get the best negotiation. Understand their needs, their concerns, their wants. And you don't understand somebody until they feel that you understand them. That's what you're going for. Okay.
People don't care what you say. People care about how you make them feel.
Yes. And we need to feel safe. I mean, men even need to feel safe too. Men need to feel, usually respected is the word that men are going to use, and safe is the word that women are going to use. So we need to make them feel respected. And you also want to go in and like help them when this is whatever they want. This is a thing. And okay, sorry. When I talk, my brain goes into 1,000 things.
Amen.
And
I get
can
it.
never finish my sentences. So
Yeah.
sometimes when people talk to me, they're like, I don't know what you said. And I can hear myself do it. Now I don't even know where it was. Oh gosh, dang it.
They need to be, the husbands need to feel respected and you need to feel
Okay.
safe as the
Yes.
wife.
Okay. So I can feel myself doing this. Like I'm the one who manages most of the things. My husband doesn't care. He's super busy. Like I have to drag him into our, monthly councils and clip him in onto memos. Like it would be really easy for me to step into the parent-child role. Lucky for me and for him, this is something that was brought to my attention in college, right? So I know how real the parent-child relationship can be, and then I observe it all over the world. So the person who is in charge of the money, if you're ladies who are listening, if you are the ones who are handling the money, like learn from this. When we step into this parent-child role, even if they put them there, you can keep them there.
Mm-hmm.
Because part of what you're doing is it's that trust that's being built. Like even if the parent spouse is like, I want you to be involved, but they need to feel that they can trust you in that. Like if they hand you something that's important, like paying the bills is an important thing. Are you going to follow through? Right. So part of the conversation is showing them that you can be trusted, that you can be reliable. And so part of that, you might have to do work to use the right words, like use lingo that they're like, oh, they really know what they're talking about. Understanding the numbers. If you don't understand the numbers, they might doubt that you have the credibility to like that your opinion has merit. Like if we take it back to kids, like if the dad never spends time with the kids and mom is struggling with something, she's been reading books about it or whatever, and then suddenly dad comes in and is like, well, just try this. Right? I mean, you could be like, but you haven't spent any time with the kids. You don't know. I've tried stuff like that. Right. So you can see how you have to earn trust for your opinion to be trusted. So it's a work in progress, but just, so all the things that you're doing to show like, I care, I'm involved, I have merit, but the personal spending money thing, like that's just something that needs to happen. You don't have to rationalize your values. They're just your values. And it doesn't matter if your partner doesn't support it or not. They support you and your values are you. So from the very beginning, like that personal spending money needs to be in there. And then how much negotiation it takes to like get that in place, call me. The shortest answer. But just going in with a win-win, you want them to get what they want. You want you to get what you want. And that's the best part about marriage is when you approach it with a win-win, like you would your best friend or your business partner, rather than this like parent-child thing that's going on.
Victim villain.
That's kind of the long short answer of that. Is that acceptable?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I connected my dots on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know what? Like this whole series is about getting people's brains open and like digging up questions, digging up like, well, but what about this situation? What about that situation? That's what these lives and this series is for, is if there's like, you're like watching this going, well, but I have this situation. What about this? That is why the comment section is so valuable, because you have Ruth here that is a money coach. This is what she does. And I'm a life coach too. I've dealt with relationships. I've coached on relationships, and so have you. Like this is all really, really good stuff. And you have us here for free answering your questions. So if this is like, I don't know about this, I have this situation or I have that situation, use the comment section. This is where you're going to get some really, really good help from Ruth. And it's invaluable. Ask your questions, put in your scenarios. Let us help you.
Yes.
All right, let's move on.
Okay. Did I mention always learning and practicing better methods of managing that? Okay,
that was next.
Okay, that's the third bullet point in this main one. So you're always learning and practicing new methods to be a better manager. That's just continual learning is always a thing. the products that have been available for financial like stuff are different now than they were 40 years ago. The theology, the option, like it's just a social science. So the more years go by and the more professionals in it, we just learn better ways of doing it, or we can nuance. Life is so nuanced. There is no person that's exactly the same. There is no script that can be handed to you. Do this, do this, do this, do this, and you will be financially successful, because life is so varied and each person is varied. So just constantly looking for new ways of improving. That's just part of that practice of being an intentional steward.
I would say always trying to understand things that you don't understand already. So whatever level of financial knowledge or whatever that is that you have, I feel like I've learned so much just because I want to understand the things I don't understand. Maybe it's a 401k. Maybe it's investment things that your husband's company offers him or whatever. Maybe it's, I don't know, savings accounts, CDs, like whatever, investing, property investment, rental, and like, I don't know, like whatever it is that you just don't understand, Google it, find a podcast, just listen to a book once a year, whatever. I don't know. Just learn things that you just don't understand. Learn more about the things you don't understand. Get better at some kind of skill that you just don't feel like you're good at, whatever that is. I think that's where I started years ago, was just, well, I don't even understand what a CD is. So I Googled it. What's a CD? Why would a person want one? What benefits does it have? Like whatever. And I started learning about CDs and I was like, oh, that's what he's talking about. Okay. So then over the years, as we're investing here and there and everywhere, I'm like, oh, well, I don't understand what that is. I'll Google it and I'll find out. Then we have conversations. Like that's how I've started to learn. And now here I am wanting to be the CFO of my family. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But 15 years ago, I would have said, no way. I don't understand money. I don't understand how that goes. Don't bother me with it. Like, I don't want to know. But now I'm like, that's interesting to me. I want to learn more. I want to understand. I want to be more of a partner than the child in the relationship. And it's a way better feeling. It feels way better now than it did then. That feeling of accomplishment, my voice is being heard, those kinds of things. Like it feels way better now than it did then. So
And
yes,
tell
do
me
it.
this, Sherry, I'm curious. When you have more information, when you feel like you understand more, does that make you want to be involved more?
Yeah.
Like part of it just the ignorance?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And I have to be honest, like this conversation, the money and the numbers is not something that I enjoy. It's not my husband geeks out over it. Like he thinks about money and how to tweak the numbers. And if we invest here and if we invest there, and if we pay this here and if we pay that there, like that is like, he geeks out over it. He loves that kind of stuff. It's probably the last thing I want to think about. Like we are really opposite in a lot of things. And so it's not something that is enjoyable to me. And so I had to ask myself, what is something that is enjoyable to me about money? And start there. What is interesting to me about money? And whatever that is, like start there. It's not what my husband thinks is interesting. It just isn't. And we have very different ways of thinking about money and spending money and, all of that. But when I started to question and when I started to learn and be interested in things that interested me about money, we started to have better conversations about money, even though we have different opinions and values and different ways of spending. Like, even though that's still the same, when I started being interested about money in my own way and whatever I felt like was interesting, our conversation started to be different.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point. And I think that's why the goals are so important, because just to learn money stuff, just to know it, that's not for everybody. Like,
Mhm.
not everybody is nerds like your husband and me. They're like, let's read the dictionary and let's Google what the, like,
Yeah.
I don't care. But when it's your goal and you see that whatever you're learning is a tool to get you what you want, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I
Right.
can liken it to technology. I always describe myself as bad with technology. I'm like 100-year-old depression grandma when it comes to technology. If there's a way to screw it up, I'm going to figure it out. It doesn't stick in my brain, right? But a few years ago, I wanted to start a business and I didn't want to have a shop, so it needed to be online, right? So suddenly, stuff that was like, for me before, landing pages, lead funnels, automations, email sequences, like all these things that my brain would just be like before,
Mhm.
suddenly it's now a
Important.
method to get me what I want.
Mhm.
And now, when it used to take me a month to make a landing page, I can make a landing page in a day. I know what a landing page is, right? So you can just pick a topic, whatever topic it is. I'm sure everybody here has learned something new. Maybe they've mastered something that at one point in their adult life they couldn't care less about, but something came in their life and then suddenly that was now a relevant topic. It doesn't mean I like technology. We're still not best friends. I can still figure out how to screw it up, but I'm driven to learn it. And the more I learn, the easier it is for me. And now, crazy, I could even be like, oh, I'm actually pretty good at that. I created some stupid canvas thing for a church the other day and it took me 5 seconds, when before I was like, oh, no, right? So that's how
Yeah.
money is. When you have your goals and it's something that you want, and you set your sights on it, then now all these financial products and lingos and habits and blah, 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 it's now a tool to get you what you want. And that's the key.
And I think that we all that in the personal development world, it's like, what's your why? What's your why? You need to figure out what your why is. And I understand all of that, like whatever. But when you really get to the point where you're like where you can feel it,
Mm-hmm.
like you and I have talked about what my why is and where we're going as a family.
Mm-hmm.
And and if we have this conversation, for sure there's going to be some intense feelings, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so important to me. It is so important to me. It's important to my husband. It's important to my family. My family, my kids and my husband, we are all on the same page. It's all of our whys. Like we all want it badly. We can feel it. We can smell it.
Mm-hmm.
We like it just is so important that whenever we want something that maybe isn't in the budget or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
we just have to say, we are getting closer to what we want.
Yes.
Do we want to do that or do we want to go over here? And sometimes we choose it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we choose the thing, but we all know that we're choosing it and we all know what we're giving up to have it. It's very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yes. And there's a difference in the way your why feels and the way a should feel. Like, this is a whole
Mhm.
other conversation about goals, but when it's your why instead of your should,
Mhm.
feels so different.
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels very, very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on.
Okay.
Next point.
Okay. Yep.
And we're leading right here. So point 2 is she bridles herself. Um, let me No, let's go into it. Okay, so I love the word bridle because it's like it's a horse tool. And if you've ever worked with horses or watched horses or country westerns or whatever, anything about horses, those are beastly animals. And
Mhm.
a horse is so freaking powerful. The fact that a little human guy can sit on a horse and like tell it where to go is amazing, because that horse could kick his ass in a second. Any
Mhm.
horse, right?
Mhm.
So, but that horse is bridled. And what it means is that horse is now, that powerful horse that could do anything it wants to, now submits itself to something that gets it greater.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you bridle yourself, you aren't giving in, you aren't being dominated or controlled or manipulated or squashed. Like, that's not what submit means. You cannot submit if you don't have the power. You're just overpowered at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You submit when you do have the power, and you submit to something that gets you better than you can have by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you're submitting yourself, your current wants, to like the things that you want ultimately. So your current and maybe even want is the right word, but your current drives or like desires, like
Mm-hmm.
these
Mm-hmm.
short-term
Mm-hmm.
desires, you're setting those aside for your long-term, what you ultimately want. So you can set aside your passions or your desires for your goals or the collective goals of the family, whatever, but it's something greater than yourself that actually serves you more than this in the moment thing.
Yes.
Okay? And a high value, when you bridle yourself, you have foresight. You understand how your decisions right now affect your future. And you see that path, and you make an intentional decision about that. Not in like a bratty, sort of entitled, I should get to have this because I work so hard thing, but like, no, this is an important piece of the life I'm building. That you can feel
Yeah.
the energy that's different. You can have whatever you want now, but all of your decisions now either rob from or open up options in the future. So you can just, that's a high value woman can see that, and she chooses the better part.
And I also feel like we talked about this before we jumped on, that I was telling you that that, and it kind of goes along with each person has their personal money,
Mhm.
you know, but if you understand the way that you spend money, if you understand what you're spending your money on, and you can be honest with yourself about what you're spending your money on, then you can make a category for those things.
Yes.
And you can give yourself an amount of money to spend on those things. You don't have to tell yourself, well, if I want this thing, then I can't have that anymore. I have to tell myself no for the clothes that I want, or the lunches out that I want with my kids or my girlfriends, or the vacations that I want, or whatever it is that you're spending your money on that you're kind of not really telling yourself you're spending your money on. If you can just be honest with yourself about the money you're spending and make categories for that and give yourself allotment for that, then what you're telling yourself no, or your budgeting or whatever it is I have $1,000 in that fund for vacations or whatever it is. I've already used that. I already went to Florida. I already went on the girls' trip. I already did the thing I want to do. Now I just want to do extra. Well, it's the extra that you're going to tell yourself no. It's not the thing in general. Like for me, it's Florida. It's my Florida trips, because I go to Florida and I do my friend's hair that's there. And that's how I see her. That's how we have decided that we're going to keep our relationship strong, and whatever is, I'm going to go out there and do hair. I'm going to do her and her kids' hair. And so if I know that I want to do that, then I'm going to budget 4 times a year that I'm going to do that. And I'm going to put money into a fund that's what I'm going to do. Well, what if she decides that, what if we decide I want to go out a 5th time? Then that's when I have to either tell myself no or take from somewhere else. It's not, okay, no more trips to Florida.
Yeah.
You can't
It's
have
an
any of
intentional,
those.
because it has to do with your goals and your values. I
Mhm.
don't teach my clients needs versus wants. I
Yeah.
think in America in 2023, that's a dumb conversation.
Mhm.
Everything that we have in our life could
Is a
be
want.
rationalized as a need or a want. I think that's
Yeah.
stupid. So
Yeah.
that's what I teach my clients on a values-based perspective, a values-based and a like goal-based. I think it's way more useful on all kinds of levels. You are just deciding what it
I
is
think it's
that's most
cleaner.
important. You think it's what?
Cleaner.
Okay. Yeah. And it also, it like, it's, it takes, it's just gross. I think it's gross to be like, your trip to Florida is a want, and therefore your wants are unimportant. But when you understand money, you know that it's the wants that fuel the needs. Like, we're past in America in 2023, we aren't starving.
Yeah.
We don't even know what starving is. I'm sure there's a handful of people that know in America what starving actually is, but we really don't know. We know that there are food banks around the corner. We know there are like, we don't really know what that means. So I think that that's kind of stupid. And I won't go into this, but anybody, if you want to know my perspective of money, go to ruthleibelcoaching.com. And at the top, I have a freebie there. It's 4 short videos. I think it's called like the new perspective, 4 short videos on my 4 pillars of money mastery and how you have harmony. And instead of, it's a whole thing. Anyway, just go watch those videos. It's really
And
good
they're
on
really
my
good.
perspective of money and why I don't believe in needs versus wants, why I think that's garbage, just how you can actually use your money for the things you want and not feel guilty. Like, so go watch those videos, ruthleibelcoaching.com, the new perspective videos. I can't remember what I labeled it, but it's there toward the top of my website. We want you to have everything you want, but that you're bridling yourself to get you what you want because you've decided what you want, not because somebody should it on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Yes.
what you ultimately want. And you're not going to miss out on the Florida trip because you gave into your 17th pair of pants that was on sale when you went through Kohl's to return the Amazon thing 5 times, like whatever, right? Like, you're intentional. You intentionally buy the pants because it's part of your plan, or you intentionally go to Florida, or you intentionally get the life insurance because that's what makes you feel safe, or you intentionally put money in the stock market, or like whatever it is, it's intentional because you chose to do it, not because your current in the moment desires owned you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
All right. What's the next one?
Third point, we'll be quick. Third point is she adds financial value wherever she goes. Okay. And financial value is the thing. Should I go into? Okay, I'll just do it. Ruth Liebel's definition of money is exchanging your time, your talents, your energy, and your ideas with other people so that both exchanging parties can improve their quality of life and support their values. Okay. So you mamas who are staying at home, or dads who are staying at home, and you don't get a paycheck, you are still adding huge financial value. An exercise that you need to do for life insurance, but you can do just for kicks and giggles because I think it's important, is to make a list of all your tasks that you do and how much it would cost to hire out those tasks. And then you'll see what a financial value you do. You can't find a single person to do what the stay-at-home parent does. It's not going to happen. And when I've done the math multiple times, it's between $90,000 and $120,000 per year to replace your stay-at-home parent. Okay. You're adding huge value, even if you don't get a paycheck. And even just exchanging with friends, or you, at church, what you do at church, or the neighbors, or like all the things that you do, you are adding huge financial value to them. So that's just, that's a high value woman. She adds a lot of financial value. She makes things easier for people. She adds luxury to people. Like, women are the greatest luxury on the planet. That's why historically kings have had many wives, is because they are luxury. They are financial value. So you add it wherever you go. You're resourceful, and you're creative. One of my favorite stories is, in a weird twisted way, is now I can only think of the author, Pearl S. Buck, The Good Earth. The Good Earth is, that poor lady did not have the husband that she deserved, but that woman in there is a high value woman. I don't know if anybody's read the story. She's a little Chinese slave that was bought by this guy, to be his wife. She is amazing. She makes him wealthy, I think 3 times over. It's been a while since I've read the book. I think she makes him wealthy 3 times over because she's resourceful. She repairs things when they're broken. She makes things, she creates things. She has a good attitude. She saves money. She sets it aside. Like, she is an amazing human being. She didn't have the husband she deserved, but she makes him wealthy 3 times over. That's a high value woman. Okay.
And I want that, that construct. I want women to have that belief, because in my line of work with style coaching, I have a lot of women that are stay-at-home moms. They've been home raising kids for however many years, and their focus has been on raising their kids, and they just, you only have as much bandwidth as you have.
Mhm.
You just can't think of all the things all the time. So they've been giving all of their mindset and all of their vision and all of their resources and everything to raising their kids, which is great. Like, right? We all do that.
Yeah.
But now all their kids are in school, and they wake up in the morning and they get their kids off to school, and then they're like, I have time to do my hair and get dressed, and I don't know how to do it. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't have the clothes I need. I don't know who am I? What's my name? Like,
Mhm.
and they come to me and they're like, is it okay for me to do this? Is it okay for me to spend some money here? Is it okay for me to spend some time here? Is it okay for me to ask this about myself and my family, to sacrifice, or whatever it is, whatever the conversation is? And I want I want women to realize that yes, the answer is yes, it is
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
It is okay for
It's
you
not only
to.
okay, it is important that you do so.
Mhm.
It is
Yeah.
important that you do so.
Yep.
You are a huge financial asset to your family. In fact, you are the biggest investment your husband will ever make, the biggest and the most important investment your husband will make. Married people who figure this money crap out make 4 times more than their single counterparts, not double, 4 times.
Mhm.
I was just like reviewing the statistics, but I can't remember. A married man, I can't remember I can't remember what the number is. A significant number. His income is higher. Um, his net worth is higher. Like, gosh dang it. I'd have to pull up my slides and stuff for the stats, but a woman who is like a high value woman, she is the biggest and best investment he will ever make. And same with men, like vice versa. So now it's just, are you a good investment? Are you treating yourself like an
Mhm.
investment? Are you treating
Mhm.
him like an investment? Do you nurture that? Like, if you invest in a real estate property, you're going to make sure it's well maintained. You're going to
Mhm.
make sure it has proper utilities and that it gets its paint job. And that's a house. That's not even a human being.
Mhm.
So you are the best investment, and your marriage is, that's what I should say. You are your best investment and your marriage is second. But mathematically,
Mhm.
marriage is a huge investment.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to be in a good, healthy mental and physical state to make these financial decisions. So even if you look at it on a financial strategy, you have, like, if looking good and feeling good is part of that mental health, you have to do it. Like, your
Mhm.
financial coach is telling you, you need a category for this self-care, and you need to go spend it on good resources for good self-care. Like, that's your financial coach is telling you that.
Mhm. Yeah. And you and I both know, like, the you know spaces that we are in, and the people that we run around with, and what we see in the world, our clients that come into us, that the the couples that are working and striving to have what we're talking about here, which is high value men and high value women in all of the things that we're talking about, whether they're, you know, hiring a financial coach, whether they're hiring a style coach, whether they're reading books, whether they're taking classes, whatever it is that they're doing, they're intentionally taking care of themselves on the inside and on the outside. They are putting effort into their relationship to be partners and not the parent child. Those couples are more successful 10 times over
Yeah.
in all of the things. They make more money, they have better relationships,
Mhm.
and they are more
They have better
successful
health. They
in
have longer lives.
they have longer lives. Yes, they are more successful human beings all the way around.
Yes.
Then then this might bristle people. It's probably going to bristle some people. Then the stay-at-home mom who doesn't take care of herself or her self-care, her emotional health, her mental health, her physical health, her appearance, all of the things. You are more successful if you have partners and a couple that take care of themselves in all of those places than if you don't. So if you're a woman out there just, getting by or putting yourself last on the list because there's not enough resources for you, you are making your family and your marriage and your partnership less than by not taking responsibility and putting yourself higher up on the priority list and creating resources for you to be able to be at the level that you want to be at, to be
You want to
successful.
be your best self. Like, again, take this back to, you are your CEO, your COO, your CFO, like whatever title is. I've been the COO and the CFO of our marriage for 16 years. Since 2007, we were established in 2007, right? That's me. So even if you're staying home, like even if you are not on a payroll, you're still huge financial value. Again, get dressed every day. Treat yourself every day as $120,000 a year executive, employee, like whatever. Because that's what you're doing. I've done the math so many times. I think 90,000 is the like bare minimum stay-at-home mom. 120,000 if you're doing landscaping, maybe if you're homeschooling, all those things. That's nothing to sneeze at. That is a professional.
Yeah.
So you need to invest in yourself and treat yourself and approach it with that kind of awesomeness. And even like Sherry and I, we have these gigs we have big dreams for, but I still consider myself a stay-at-home mom. I don't know about you, Sherry. Are you still a stay-at-home mom? Yeah. I'm a stay-at-home mom with a financial coaching practice. That's what I am. But I mean, my kids are, not today, they're at school, but usually they're around the corner, right? Like I am a mom first and foremost, because that's where my greatest value to my family comes from. I'd have to have one hell of a job to replace me outside of the home. So like, just you add value wherever you go. If you're working, add killer value to your boss, to your coworkers, to your friends, like wherever you are, add value. So
love it.
And then get paid for it if you can get paid for it.
But if
I'll
you
say that. Get
but
paid
if
for this
you
stuff.
don't,
Yeah.
then you have to realize that you are financially valuable as if you were getting the actual green dollars.
Yes. And paid for it doesn't have to be somebody exchanging money, but just make sure that you are exchanging with people who exchange back to you. So yeah, like stay-at-home moms, when you're in your group of stay-at-home moms, that is a powerful economic system right there, even though no currency is pulled out of anybody's pockets.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What's our next point?
That's it. That was the third one.
Oh, that's the third one. And that's it. We're good. That's all. Okay. So all of you who are watching, if there's anything that has come up, I'm sure there has been. We've talked about a lot of things. There's been things that have come up for me, like you and I talked before, the bristling that I was like, when she said it, I was like, ooh, I don't like that one. Let's not talk about that one. That's not my favorite. But it is really, 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 really valuable for you to look at that and for you to really ask yourself, what is that about? What is about that bristles me? What is it that I don't like? That is telling you something about yourself. And it is very, very, very useful for you to look at that. Put it in the chat, put it in the comments, and we will walk you through it. We'll help you through it.
Yeah.
So
I want to have this little thought because this is my topic that I'm super passionate about. My mom was very wise, is very wise. She's still alive. But when I was a kid, I think it was a class. I think it was a religion class, maybe. I can't remember. It was a class at a certain time that I didn't want to register for. And I was just wrestling with my mom, like I was, whatever it was. And my mom gave this wisdom. She said, sometimes the thing you don't want to do is exactly the thing you do need to do because it will bring you the most blessings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And as you go through things, there's a difference of like, I don't like that because it's a red flag. Like there's a red flag to me doing that. There's a feature. But there's another thing of like, it's going to demand a lot from me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different kind of a feeling. But when you look at it and think, yeah, but if I tackle that, if I learn to eliminate that from my life or do that well, what kind of blessings would that be in my life? And I say this about money because this is what I teach. This is what I'm passionate about. I see so many people's lives changed. They're just like sharing that they were like, no, that's like, don't talk to me about that. And then when they face it, then they're like, oh my gosh, my life has changed. Like I see that so many times. So if something is bristling you, figure out why it's bristling you. Is it a red flag? Does it feel wrong? Or does it just feel like it challenges you and it pricks all sorts of like pride spots in you and all the fears of like, oh my gosh, that's so much work. I'm gonna have to face that ugly, or it's gonna be so complicated to learn. If it does that, like, then maybe that's the exact thing that you need to face. Like maybe
Open it up.
right. Like, a lot of times I say it's like throwing up. We go through all this like effort to not do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we end up having to do it anyway. When it's over, we feel so much better. And we're like, why was that? So
Why'd I wait
like
so
that.
long? Yeah.
Yeah. It might be uncomfortable and, even miserable. Puking is not a fun thing, but when it's over, you feel so much better. So those are some thoughts because this is a topic I'm super passionate about. I'm a resource for this. If you're like, oh, this is something that I gotta, I make it fun and nice. I'm really kind. I'm not gonna beat you up. There's no, Jillian Michaels with money here with me.
Yeah.
So contact me, ruthleibocoaching.com, message me, whatever. I can send you a little push, whatever level you're ready to receive. I have a course. I can do a little plug for my course. I walk people through my first 5 systems that are needed for managing your money with ease. Yeah, I'll do that first 5 systems to make it like get you a plan and walk you through to automate some stuff and have conversations, working with your spouse, all those things. It's 12-week course. The fall session is going now, but I'm going to be opening up the spring session. So if you want to get on the waiting list, just go visit my website, get on the email list, any of the things to be in contact with that.
And you should all do it. If this is something that is prickling and you're like, I really need to tackle that, but I just don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. It's too hard. I don't know. Just get into Ruth's program in the spring because I'm in it right now and it is like so good. It's so good. And Ruth is not, like she said, she's really nice and she's not condescending. She's not going to tell you you're doing it wrong. She's not going to tell you shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done that. There's a better way. Like none of that. It is, where are you now? Where's your head at right now? And where do you want to go? And can I help you and support you in that direction? It is really, really good. So if you're having money issues with, just get on the list, just get on the waiting list and do it in the spring. Just do yourself a favor. Don't wait. Just do it. Okay. All right. Till next time. If you guys also have things you want to talk about, or if this, one of the topics in today's, you're like, I want to talk more about that, then let us know. We're always up for conversations and direction and ideas and from our listeners. So put it in the chat and tell us what you want us to talk about and we'll do it. Okay. We're signing off and we will see you next week. Okay. Bye, everybody.